Congressman Mike Waltz is joining us live for his Friday briefing today on WNDB. And Congressman, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Happy to.
Let's talk about this new bill that you're working on to waive the time limitations for Alwyn Cashe's Medal of Honor. What happened there?
Well, there's the law in the books is that you have to award the Medal of Honor within 5 years of the heroic incident. Sergeant Cashe, unfortunately, died of his wounds running into a burning vehicle 3 times while himself being covered with fuel and himself on fire, and pulled 3 of his soldiers out of a burning vehicle. He died in 2005. Obviously, that's been more than 5 years. So I've introduced a bill to waive that provision. The Secretary of Defense has indicated to me as soon as we can get that waived, that he will recommend to the President to award the Medal of Honor, which is more than deserved. And this would be an upgrade from the Silver Star.
3 times he went into a burning vehicle?
He was thrown from the vehicle during the blast and likely would have survived that incident. But he knew his men were literally burning inside, and not once, but not twice, but 3 times went in until when he was carried into the hospital, finally, with his uniform literally burned to his skin. He refused care until his men were taken care of first, and eventually he passed. Now, in just such a great tradition of heroism, his son has since joined the Army. And my understanding from the family's representatives will receive the medal once we can finally get it approved. It's long overdue, Mark, and I'm just proud to be a part of this process.
What an inspiring story. Let me turn to the peace process in the Middle East, a big moment for the United States to be part of the solution to a long-standing problem. 2 countries sign on. The president holds a ceremony at the White House. Congressman, your thoughts. When do you think the Palestinians will finally come to the table? Do you think it will be because of the additional countries that come in, they're going to feel they need to? Because I know they haven't done so yet.
Well, I think there's a few more that hopefully we can get in the coming months. I believe Oman is close. Sudan is close. The president has talked about this. This is just, I just don't know that folks really appreciate how historic this is. This hasn't happened in decades, and in Israel's entire existence, only 2 countries in the Middle East, Arab countries, have recognized it. We've doubled that now. The administration has, and could possibly triple that by the end of the year. And this is because the administration rightly pulled these countries together. The old enemy of my enemy is my friend, and they see Iran as far more of an issue for their security than the Palestinian issue. And I think when we get enough countries, eventually the Palestinian, which is sadly a very corrupt government, will purge itself, get new leadership, and get on board for what's best for its people.
Let me pivot to the subject of the Attorney General this week, who is now going to take a much more aggressive stance with these protesters that create violence and destruction. Am I correct that they may actually seek charges of sedition against those citizens who go on to riot?
That's what my understanding the Attorney General is talking about. I do want to clarify the department has denied that he is talking about doing that with elected officials, with the mayor of Seattle and others. But look, Mark, the rest of us have rights too. Those business owners, individuals that are getting attacked in the streets, neighborhoods that are being burned, someone has to step in to defend their rights. And no one has the right to violent protest. And if local officials and liberal district attorneys won't take action, I think the Justice Department has to figure out a way to do so. I think the number one job of our government, whether it's foreign policy, military, or internal, is to keep us safe and to keep law and order on the streets. And I think the department and the Attorney General's trying to figure that out as best they can.
Congressman, last night I bounced back and forth on television watching the president at his rally, and then earlier watching Joe Biden at the debate, and there was a telling statement based on a question that was put to him by Anderson Cooper, asking if Russia was an enemy, and he goes, well, I would say that they are an opponent. It's that soft approach to a national security issue that should have Americans concerned. It didn't get really any press on this, but if he's going to go soft on the Russians and the Chinese at a time in which their naval exercises have become more aggressive, that could be a real challenge for the United States. Would you comment?
Well, first of all, I mean, that show with Anderson Cooper, those weren't softball questions; they were beach balls. I mean, the media is absolutely complicit. They're not pressing Vice President Biden. They're not on his 50-year record, whether it is on law and order or whether it is on manufacturing jobs leaving over the last 50 years that he's been at the highest levels of power. And in that case, he not only called Russia an opponent rather than an enemy, he called China a competitor. And he's been saying that his entire career. And that is what is so dangerous, not to mention the fact, again, as we've talked about, his son is a business partner with the Central Bank of China, Hunter Biden. The Vice President Biden has seen China as no issue. The rise is not a problem. And he just doesn't see the issue for what it is. And that should be scary for all of us. And that's what's at stake this election.
Finally, it's tragic what's going on in California with the fires and the destruction and the 25 people who have already perished. But didn't they sort of create this problem themselves? And some of the fires have been set by people, so it's not global warming, and they're trying to pass that off as the reason why this is happening. But they also have this strong resistance to cutting underbrush and eliminating some of the reasons why these fires happen. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, it's a culmination of decades of forest mismanagement. Decades. Those forests out there are an absolute tinderbox. I recently did an event with one of our candidates that's running in Oregon exactly on this issue and on the timber industry issue that is so badly suffered there. Which timber prices for home builders now are through the roof. We can't cull through some of these forests as we should, and it's also been a problem on federal lands where the Democrats for decades have blocked efforts to be able to manage the forests on federal lands as well. So I'm hoping that he and others will win, and that eventually those residents will wake up to what this is all about in the West, because it's just devastating what's going on. But I do want to highlight the president just awarded 7 Valor Medals, Distinguished Flying Crosses, to the California National Guard, who repeatedly went in and saved some of these campers.
Congressman Mike Waltz joining us live this morning on WNDB. Appreciate the time and the briefing. Thank you for being with us. We'll talk to you in the next few days, next week.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Tomorrow I'll be down at Flagler doing International Coastal Cleanup Day at Flagler Beach. So hope as many people can come out as possible and keep our coastline beautiful.
Good job. Thank you, Congressman. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks so much.